Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 40. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching, and I'm truly excited to have you here with me today. I always say thank you for sharing your time with me because your time is your most valuable gift, and I really appreciate you taking some time with me today. It's another glorious weekend here in Santa Fe, and I have to keep saying that because when it gets to be cold again in the winter, I may not be saying that, but I just have to say what a glorious morning and day it's been able to go out for a hike, walk, run, experience some time outside. It's still so crisp in the mornings, and it is just the best time I get to spend with myself and my thoughts. And it allowed me to think about really more about what I wanted to talk to you about today. You know, I've been thinking about this for a week and I've been outlining it, but today on my run, I really hit struck a nerve with myself that this is really important for me to share this with you. So I'm going to share a big global concept with you. So stick with me, and then we're going to work through it through two different ways to deal with this. One's a really powerful model, but I want you to think about the concept that nothing has meaning. This was one that I really struggled with. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, when a coach that I had, this is probably, 10 or 15 years ago, when a coach that I had expressed this to me, that nothing has meaning, I was like, what do you mean? Everything has meaning. Everything in life has a meaning. My God. And they really challenged me to think about it, right? Nothing has meaning until you assign it to it. And I have to tell you, it really annoyed me, if I'm completely honest, when I first heard this. And then I got it. And I want you to get this concept because this will change how you respond to what your future looks like, how you're able to move forward quicker when you own that nothing has meaning until you assign it meaning. So we've talked about this probably on nearly every single podcast, is that our thoughts create all of our results, correct? And you've heard me say over and over and over, our thoughts sometimes have to be put into a story for our brain to be able to really understand and comprehend the thought that it is having. So we're great story making machines. We just are. We're great at making up stories. And what I know from the studies that I've done in the neurosciences is that when a thought is living in our unconscious mind or living in our brain, it is neither negative or positive. It's just simply a thought. But when we pull it out and we make it into a story, that is when we as humans want to make it good or bad, positive or negative. And so when you can release that and realize that it was just a thought, it's not good or bad, it's not positive or negative, it's just a thought that has no meaning, it will change how you move about in your business and life. So let me give you an example. Guys, this was probably back in 2009 when this happened, and I was working with my coach. I can remember getting so spun up about someone that had made a commitment to join my firm. They were in. We went to breakfast, we went to lunch, we invited them to training programs. I took them to a happy hour. I did all kinds of things that they were really in. And then I would get a text message or a voicemail or an email that said, hey, I've changed my mind and I'm not coming. Okay. I used to get so bent and have such a big charger on it because I took it so personally. I'm like, what the flip do you mean you're not coming? I've invested all this time. You were a liar. You were making it up. You never had the intention of coming. You just wanted free meals, free training. That's where I went. Okay. Because I was giving the message meaning. And when my coach asked me in a particular situation, I got a text message. And this one I was really pissed off about. And this was somebody that I felt like I'd built a really trusted relationship with, that I could be their trusted advisor and have them move over to join my firm and do great things for them. I mean, I outlined their future. I outlined what was possible, got them to think differently, did all these great things. And they sent me a text saying, hey, we've changed our mind. We're not moving. We're going to stay where we are. Appreciate your time, but it's just not the right fit. Well, that text came through and it just flew all over me. And I was having this conversation with my coach at the time, and she said, "Can I ask you specifically what just happened?" She's like, "Take the emotion out of it and tell me what activity just happened that created the story." And I was like, "Well, they sent this shitty text and it was terrible." And she said, "Stop. What did they really do?" "Well, they sent a text." That's it. They sent a text. And all of a sudden you have assigned meaning to it. It was a hateful text. It was a hurtful text. They didn't mean what they were saying. They were using me. I assigned all kinds of stuff to it, right? It was a horrible text message. It was terrible. It was just a text message. That's it. And when I had that moment where the light bulb came on, that the circumstances, so remember the model, right? Circumstance, so something happens. I have a thought, feeling, action, and result. The something happens or the circumstance is really neutral. It's truly neutral. They sent a text and canceled. They sent me an email saying they were no longer going to do what they committed to do. They called me and told me that they weren't going to move forward with the purchase. It just was not right for them or their company. However they communicate, their direct message, whatever it was. And when you just sit in the space of that's all they did was send a message. And I'm pulling that thought now to my conscious mind. This is when you have the choice to make up a story around it or not, to allow it to be a neutral event or to assign it meaning. We do this good and bad, right? Like early on, in a relationship, you might get a text about, "Hey, really looking forward to going to dinner." Right? Or, "I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday." Awesome. I might assign it meaning. "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing in the world. I can't wait they clearly want to see me. They're super excited. They reached out before our upcoming date or the upcoming time that we're going to get together." Well, what if the text about looking forward to seeing you Friday meant that they were going to tell me they no longer wanted to move forward in the relationship? It's possible. But I assigned it this meaning, this really positive meaning. So it works both ways, positive and negative, good and bad, healthy, unhealthy. Nothing has meaning until we give it meaning. A thought in your head has no emotion to it. A thought in your head is not good or bad. It's simply a thought. We as humans want to attach something to it, which allows us to create a story around it. So when my coach challenged me on that, forever and ever from that point forward, I just looked at things of, was just an email. Oh, they sent me a voicemail. Awesome. What did it mean? I'm not going to give it any positive or negative. They sent me communication. That's it. It allows you to digest information. It allows you to show up in a different space of maybe asking some more powerful questions, maybe digging a little bit deeper to find out what was really going on before I assigned it a meaning. Somebody could send me a text saying, "Hey, we're not going to join your firm right now. I appreciate it. It's just not the right time." I can have this volatile reaction and send them a really crappy text message back like, "Oh my gosh, sorry to hear this. I feel like we've wasted time. I've spent all this money on meals on you and entertaining and bringing you to coaching and training, and here you are not coming. Well, all the best." What if they really just meant, "I can't come now, but I can come in the next 30 days or in 60 days, I'll be joining you." You just torched a bridge because you assigned meaning to something. It happens all the time. So taking a position in neutral when it comes to the circumstance that's creating the thought, feeling, action, results will change your world and allow you to show up in a much stronger position. It's that whole thing, right? When you assume you're going to ask out of you and me, it's really kind of along those same lines, is stop creating the story that you need to allow your brain to process what's just happened. It was just a text. It was just an incident. It was just an email. That's it. Stay neutral. It will change things. Now, I want to talk to you about, though, how things typically work, because I want you to get a better understanding of this so you can say, "Oh my gosh, I do this all the time." I learned this a long time ago. We as humans are phenomenal storytelling machines. We just are. And it goes to my theory of stories help us digest thoughts that we have. They just do. And so I want you to think about this model around you telling yourself a story. So something has happened, a text message, an email, a conversation, whatever it is, and you want to process it. So you make up a story. So, they weren't serious. They were such a waste of my time. They were never were going to do this, right? We start to make up a story. So step number one is something happens. Step number 2 is you make up a story around it. And usually you make it up with a charge, right? They weren't going to do it. They totally wasted my time. You make up that story. Step number 3, you have a reaction to it. So you're pissed, or you're angry, or you're sad, or you feel harmed. You have a reaction to it. Gosh, I'm really sad that they did that. I'm really angry that they did that. I cannot freaking believe that they've made this decision, right? You have a reaction, or what I like to say, you have a charge around it. An emotional charge, right? A reaction really is an emotional charge. So I want you to think about this. We've all had it happen. Something happens, right? You've created the story, and you can feel an impact. You can feel your blood pressure go up. You can feel your heartbeat. You can feel your stomach sink. You can feel a gut punch. You can feel these things. That's when you have the reaction. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm hurt. Those are when you form a reaction. So something happens, you make up a story, and then you have a reaction. Then what you do next, step number 4, is you form judgment. Well, when I think about it, they're really not that good of a person anyway. I don't know if I really would have wanted them around me. You start to create a judgment around it. They were total waste of time. They were total tire kickers. You start to have judgment. And then what we like to do in this situation is go out and search for other people that agree with you. So you're looking for evidence. So you might done this a million times. Something happens, made up a story, have a reaction. I form my own judgment. And then I call some friends, peers, to get them to agree with me. This just happened, and I'm so pissed, and they did this. Can you believe that? What do you think? Am I right or wrong? You're searching for evidence. If you find somebody that agrees with you, it's a glorious thing. If you find somebody who challenges you, you move on, and you go out and you search for evidence from other people. You're going to dismiss that because right now you're searching for a story. You're searching for an opinion. You're searching for someone to support your judgment, your reaction, and your story. So you continue to search for evidence until you find it. Then once you find the evidence, you take it and you can predict your future. Well, my gosh, this happens to everybody. I talked to 3 of my peers in the industry, and the same thing happens to them when they deal with this type of person, or when they deal with this industry, or they deal with this. So therefore, every time this happens, this is going to be my future. And the final step in this, step 6, is you predict your future. And I say this because I mean it. You get what you go looking for. So if you're predicting your future, I promise you, you're going to find it. You're going to attract this type of person into your world over and over and over, because you've already placed your order with the prediction of your future. And when you place your order with the universe, you just get more of it. And so when you succumb to predicting the future, that is really what you have done. You have sealed your fate, and you will get more of exactly what just happened. So when you can neutralize the circumstance or the something that happened, you can break this whole cycle, and you can actually predict the future that you would like to have. I don't know about you, but that is such a better place to be. In this model, so I'm going to tell you this again, the 6 steps of this model is something happens, you create a story, right? Your brain wants to process the thought around the thing that just happened, the circumstance. You have a reaction. So you have a charge, an energy, an emotion around it, and then you form a judgment. So something happens, make up a story, have a reaction, form judgment. Step 5, you search for evidence. And step 6, you predict your future. And the searching for evidence thing is hysterical. I know we've all done it. You keep going to different people until finally somebody agrees with you. Finally, somebody says you're right. This happened to me as well. And you start to gather more and more and more evidence to support the story you made up, the reaction you're having, and the judgment you've made, so that now you can predict your future and protect yourself from something like that ever happening again. And really what you've done is made something mean something and run with it. When you feel step number 3, this is critical. So if you want to break this cycle and have a different future, step 3, where you have a reaction, is where you need to become aware that you are on this path of creating a story and predicting your future. So if you have a charge or you experience an extreme emotion, or when your emotion is disproportionate to what happened, it's a good indication that you're in this model. When you're feeling anger, fear, sadness, or guilt, you're in this model. If you can catch it at reaction and stop yourself from forming a judgment, is when magic can happen. So let's just say, for example, you got a crappy text from somebody, whether it was your personal life, somebody didn't want to see you anymore, whether it's a business proposition that they were on, all of a sudden they've decided not to do it. You got an email, you got a voicemail, whatever it is, delivering news that you weren't expecting. You made up the story and you start to have a charge or an emotional reaction around it. Stop it there. Goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's an email. That's it. It's a text. Take the reaction out of it. And then you can really process it at this point and you can change things. So when that happens, and let's say you're angry, take a moment and realize it was just a client sending an email. That's it. With a decision they made. That's it. When I can get to a calmer place and I ditch the reaction, I can actually have an intelligent conversation with the client or with whoever it was that sent me the text or the email or the voicemail or a handwritten note. Who knows how they communicated it with you? Or they did something like no-showed or whatever it is. That's when you gain your power back, is when you dismiss that whole reaction piece and you can say, okay, this just happened. What can I learn from it? They just sent me a text telling me they made a different decision. That's it. What could I do to learn from this? What could I do to ask some really powerful questions? So then I can create a really great judgment. I don't have to go searching for evidence because I've got all the answers directly from the person. And then I can predict my future. You know what? I'm really good at sales. This person just wasn't ready for my product or my service. And ultimately what it's done is remove that person from my space and allows me to attract higher level clients. Nipping it at the have a reaction, step number 3, is your key to having a different outcome. It really is. So I will tell you, when somebody first introduced this to me, I thought they were crazy because in my world, everything has meaning. It's not neutral, right? The message being delivered is not neutral. And so I really struggled with this. And I just want you to invite you to think about what's the activity, not what I want to make it mean. They sent a text. They didn't show up for dinner. They used a different sales agent. They booked with a different realtor. That's it. Stop there and rewrite your story. Because this little cycle of these 6 steps can create the future that you really don't want to have, but you've predicted it, you've placed your order, and you're going to get more of it. So circumstance, something happens, is neutral. Best gift you can give yourself. Staying in a neutral position prevents this whole landslide of other things. So I just want to invite you to think about that. It's a game changer. I will tell you, it has changed my world completely. If I have a client who opts to not enroll in one of our programs, I totally neutral. That's the decision they made, period. I don't get frustrated. I don't get upset. I don't want to take on this huge challenge and force them to do it. I just don't. It's just a neutral situation. That's it. Allows me to show up completely different. So if you're struggling with this, I say this all the time. If anything that we shared in the podcast you struggle with, please reach out to me directly. I'm so happy to help you out. You can email me, tony@rethinkcoaching.com. I answer my own emails. So if you do that, I will personally get back to you, not my admin, not somebody else. It's me. You can direct message me on social. You can find me Instagram is probably the best, DMing, and it's Tony M like Michael Caliendo. That's my Instagram handle. Tony Caliendo is my Facebook page. You really can find me. Rethink Coaching is our business page on Facebook. You can find me pretty easily. My promise is if you reach out to me, I will be the one to respond to you. And I'd be happy to help you out any way that I can. This is a game changer when you realize that everything is neutral until you make it not neutral. Have a great week. Go out and enjoy yourself. It is the first week of June. Not quite sure how that happened so quickly, but here we are. Set great intention for your upcoming week. Really practice staying in a position of neutral. And I promise you, you're going to have a different week than you've ever had before. See you later, friends. See you in a week. Thanks so much. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.